We are going to talk today about the Miranda rights. And that is, everybody knows from TV, you have the right to remain silent and all that. And what I think is interesting that we're going to get into here is how sort of sometimes it very rarely looks like it does on TV, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It can be something that is, the Miranda rights are delivered at a kind of an unexpected time. And what I want to kind of address is that people a lot of times don't even know that they've been read their rights, right?
Yeah, mostly, right. So on television or in the movies, the officer in uniform, as he's clicking handcuffs on somebody, is actually reading them their rights right there, then and there. And in the real world, that doesn't happen. That never happens, as a matter of fact.
Wow. Okay. So, but it's legally required that the rights are read if someone is being arrested, right?
No, actually, it's not at all. So Miranda is a two-pronged issue. Somebody has to be in custody, under arrest, or not free to leave. And then an officer has to be questioning them about a crime in which they're a suspect in. So if that doesn't happen, if they're not going to ask them questions, then there's no reason to read them their Miranda rights. And that's what happens the vast majority of the time.
Okay, so when someone waives their rights, or they've been read their rights, but they let them go. Sometimes they don't even know they've done that. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it can be glossed over pretty quickly and easily, and then the rights are just waived, and a conversation happens without an attorney being present.
Okay, so now you used to be in the business of doing that. Is that right? That's right. What was your title?
Well, I was an investigator and a narcotics agent for many years, yes.
All right, so you've been in the room and actually done this. Can you kind of walk us through what that looks like? So someone has been arrested now by an officer. They've been brought to the station, and now they're in front of you, who they've never seen before. And just kind of paint the picture and walk us through what that's like.
Right. So a uniformed officer is almost exclusively the one that actually makes the arrest, that sticks the handcuffs on somebody and puts them in a car and takes them to jail. And as a narcotics agent, I would come in to a room well after the arrest is made. So now the person is in custody, and I'm going to question them about a crime in which they're a suspect. So Miranda applies and has to be read. So all officers I know carried a card with them with the Miranda warning, so there's no chance of messing it up. You say it exactly the same every time. So I would sit down with somebody, and I would try to put them at ease and off guard maybe a little bit.
Okay, so then now let's kind of role play. What does that look like? Start doing that with me.
Okay, so I would say, now, David, I'm not really understanding exactly why you were arrested or why you're really even here anyway, but I got this card I got to read you. This is the whole movie TV thing, okay? So just pay attention. So this says, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer, have him or her present with you while you are being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights, not answer any questions, or make any statements. You understand that, David?
I understand
those rights
that. Yep.
As I read them to you? Okay, now,
Yeah.
I'm not really understanding why you were arrested and why you were here, but there's some basic information I got to get right. And how do you spell your last name again?
Mann.
Okay, and you're self-employed, right? You don't work for anybody else?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so that's how the conversation starts. So I ask a couple of very easy. You said I read the rights. You said you understood those rights. And then I start asking questions that are super non-evasive. Like, there's nothing to hide about how you spell your last name. There's probably
and then where does the
nothing to hide
conversation
about where you work. Well, and now the conversation just builds. So now you have now waived your rights. You didn't say, I do want to talk to you, or I don't want an attorney, but I read your rights. You said you understood them, and now we're just talking. And now the conversation
and this is
builds,
where it gets...
And then I get to start,
So you're going to start asking, if all the questions were as simple as the ones you just said, your name and how you spell it and facts, no big deal. But you're saying that actually those are intentionally kept simple so that the interrogating officer can start to ask questions that could potentially be incriminating, right?
Certainly. The questioning isn't going to start with the whodunit or the confirmation that you committed a crime. The question's going to start with very simple, non-evasive things.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to know you, you're going to get to know me, and then we're going to just start talking, and then before long, a full interrogation will happen.
And what's an example of a question that you might ask way down the line that's a really incriminating thing?
Well, depending on what the crime is, we're going to get all the way to a full confession. We're going to get all the way to the whodunit. We're going to get to the why did you do this thing, or how did you do this thing, and that's going to be the thing that we use to then charge you with the crime or help prosecute you as a law enforcement officer.
Wow. That's incredible. That is incredible. So it sounds like you have a lot of experience, and now you're working to defend those very people that you may have had across from you on the table. How do we get in touch with Just Criminal Law?
Well, there's a link on the screen. You just click on the link if you'd like to talk to us. You have questions, or maybe this has happened to you, and we can certainly help you out.